We as Christians, how do we impact the world, as Christianity is right now the most hated religion in the world, and countries that were once known to be Christian countries, for example America, are pushing Christianity out of their system, and the church is increasingly being persecuted?
I think that is disputable to say Christianity is the most hated religion in the world. I don't think that Christianity is more hated than Islam. I think people like Islamic ISIS, the Islamic terrorist organizations like ISIS, Al Qaeda, have really made Islam to be much more hated. Even though many people are saying that they are not Islamic, but they call themselves Islamic. But Christian, many people, I think rather that because of those extremist organizations that Christianity is becoming more appealing, because it's just the direct opposite of what those extremist organizations and terrorist organizations do. Yes, the fact that Christians are being persecuted everywhere widely, even in the Western nations, that is true. And will it be, that means it's hated? I think people who are fighting against Christianity and Christians, especially the secular people in the West, are mainly against religion altogether. I think they are fighting against the idea of God, even in and the influence of Christianity in the Western society. I think they want to eradicate the influence of God altogether in the society. So, what we can do about that is for Christians to be more engaged in what Jesus said we should do. We should go and preach the gospel to all creation, and not preaching the gospel necessarily religiously, like the way most of us tend to do evangelism. Yeah, I think it's a little bit different from the way Jesus said we should do it. From the way I understand Jesus in Matthew 28, he says, "Go ye therefore and teach all creation, and make disciples rather of all creation, teaching them to observe all that I've taught you." So make disciples is actually what God said we should do, what Jesus said we should do. Go make disciples of all nations, teaching them. So the thing we're actually taught to do is to make disciples of people in every sphere of life through teaching. So it's not through singing, it's not through shouting hallelujah, it's not through religiosity, it's not through religious activities, but through teaching. So I think that if we will be less religious and focus more on what Jesus taught us, he said, "Go teach them all I have taught you." Teaching them all I have taught you. Teaching people principles and values that Jesus taught us. Principles and values that he gave to us. Principles and values that he brought from heaven. If we are going to use that as our front, if we are going to start with that and present the principles of the kingdom, the right principles of the kingdom, the values of the kingdom, I think we could attract people more through that and convince people of our belief system first before we showcase the religious part of it. I think the religious part of it might be pushing people off. But the real essence of Christianity, people don't really get to know it, especially people who are persecuting Christians and who are fighting Christianity. They don't really know the essence of the message. I think if people get to know that Christianity is just about pure love, if we would just love people rather than religiously present God, I think it will be very difficult for people to resist love. I think if people know that Christianity is more about forgiveness, if people would taste forgiveness rather than condemnation, I think people will find it more attractive. So if we will present more understanding, more patience, peace, more exemplary values like that in relationship to people, and more leadership, more service, more, honor in relationship, in attitude to other people. I think we can really make God popular. I think, I don't see any retreat of Christianity. I don't see Christianity retreating or hiding or going back. I see that the future still belongs to Christians and Christianity, because I think there is no better ideology or better alternative that could be presented to the world than what Jesus Christ has presented. Only we must look at ways to package it in a way that will not irritate the people that we want to save. That we will rather present it in a way that it will be more attractive, rather than pushing people away from the real thing we want to let them know.